Good evening, everybody. Welcome. So happy to see you. We have a new one here tonight. Joe, it's the first time we've seen you. Thanks for joining us. We're so happy you're here. Let me go through here. Scott Hummer, he says he may be late, but he was number one again. Patty's Garden, good to see you. Utah Mike. And Scott, you aren't late. You're here. You're great. Little Lone Prepper, good to see you as well. I think I saw Feoxerus come in and Joe. And who else? Yeah, Feoxerus is here. Okay. So, fantastic. Thank you for that, Scott and Little Lone Prepper. I'm always concerned. Well, we've had a couple bad things happen over the course of the last week, and I also had something phenomenal happen to me personally this last week. So let's focus on the good. The good is that I was invited to an online meeting, and that online meeting had James Jones, the author of the book that we're reading. So that was fantastic. And then usually you can't see it. I'm going to get up here. But if you take a look at my board, up here we have TACDA, T-A-C-D-A. And so that's the American Civil Defense Association. And I'm going to share that with you, their website. These websites will be on the, and I promise I'll try to hit the right buttons tonight. So there we go. That's that one, I think. Yeah. So here's TACDA's website. And so I strongly recommend you join it. Right now they're offering free membership. And I want to show you something as well. So that's just kind of what their website looks like. They have a survival store. You can get some fantastic things there, resources. They have a library that is just unbelievable. They have the net tag triage. There's all kinds of great stuff at the American Civil Defense Association. So strongly recommend that. And then let me get back to where I was. Here, okay. So they put out this magazine biannually, semi-annually, every 6 months. So this one was emergency planning. This one is expedient sheltering in case of a nuclear attack. I think this was the most recent. No, it's 2024. Domestic terrorism and water. We'll be discussing this one next week. That's the next chapter in the book. But they put out a fantastic magazine every 6 months on preparedness. Strongly recommend it. Please, right now the membership is free. You can go into the archives as a member, and if you don't want to spend the $4 or $5 for the magazine, you can print it out yourself for free. So they're available to you. Just want to make sure you get exposed. These have some of the best experts on earth as members who put together these magazines and everything else. And like I said, I was able to meet James Jones, the author of this book. And so he has written 5 books total. And I ordered this one. This is his, The Prepper's Medical Manual. And then I also ordered 150 Survival Secrets. And he's got 2 other books. Those will be in my haul video next for the next Saturday. He's got 2 other books. As soon as I get enough money, I'll buy those 2 as well. But he's got a plethora of books, just phenomenal. Great guy. He has agreed to come on to one of our Monday night book clubs and be interviewed and talk about his book or anything else y'all want to talk about. So Suzanne Goulet, good evening. Good to see you. Sumi, welcome. Always good to see you as well. I owe you a big thank you, and we'll get to that here shortly. Pete, Triple G Farms, welcome. Good to see you. So anyhow, so he's got 5 books. Links for the 3 for this one, as well as these other 2 that I bought, are in the notes down below. Almost everything we're going to talk about, I've already put into the notes or into the description. So if you want to buy anything that I show you, the link to that will be in the description. All the books will be there. Links to all the websites that I show you will be there. As a matter of fact, the next one I want to show you is, this is one let me see if I can find it here. This is the website that is run by, there we go. So this is the website that is run by James Jones, okay? And so, and that's, this book. And so the one we're doing. So this is his website. Strongly recommend it, and that you join American Survivor. That link will also be in the descriptions down below. So fantastic, really great. Strongly recommend that you go there and check him out. Okay, so that's kind of that. I do have, let me get rid of those two so I don't accidentally, so I can get rid of all the extra stuff I have on my screen here real quick. Okay, so the topic tonight is communications. So wartime communications methods, and he talks about a couple things. Number one, he talks about establishing your own code system. So I'm a code breaker. I was a 98 Bravo in the Army, so I was trained in cryptanalysis and code breaking. So this is something that's near and dear to my heart. We have two different things. We can encipher something, and encipherment is a one-for-one substitution. So when you do those cryptograms in the newspaper where they've done a letter change, and you have to find out what that letter is, and then it's consistent throughout the message, that's a cipher system. That's always a constant exchange, one for one, one for two, two for one. It's always the same. A code system is when you have varying elements. For example, here he has the letter Q, means help, I need help. The letter Y means I'm captured or I'm under distress. The letter P, Papa, means you are in immediate danger. So that's a code system because you have, you're in immediate danger is a different length than help, I need help, right? So that's a code system. So he talks about establish your own codes with your group now. Now remember, we did a book by Stephen C. Smith, and I think it was book 2 in his Stonemont series. And the Native American went up to her mother, and her mother had a cabin out in the plains, and she just stood out in the open plain in front of the cabin. And the mother came out of the cabin and looked up at the sun, then looked at her daughter, and then went back inside the cabin. That was their code system. And what that code system meant was by looking at the sun and then going back in, that it was clear. She was not under duress, and the daughter could enter. So the daughter then went in to tell her mother, hey, I have a guy with me. I'm going to go get him and bring him back. I am not under duress. I can bring him back safely. So that was that code system that they developed ahead of time. Had there been somebody inside the house and the mother was under duress, she would have said, come on in. And each time she said, come on in, that's how many people were inside. So if she said, come on in, that means there's 2 bad guys inside the house. So I'm going to go inside. Just beware, there's 2 bad guys in the house with me. You might not want to come in. See, that kind of a code system is what he's talking about establishing before we get into SHTF. He gets into book codes, practical codes for civilians, TAP codes. So a TAP code is basically a matrix, 1 through 25. Almost every time you have a matrix system that's based on a 5x5 diagram, I and J are going to be together, okay? Because it's fairly easy to distinguish in a word whether it's an I or a J when you start transliterating it. But you can construct a 5x5 matrix, and let's say you put A in the upper left, so you're going to go 1 tap to show that it's in the row 1, and then 1 tap for column 1, so means A, right? So you can go all the way up to a Z, which would be 5 and 5. That becomes a Z, okay? So you know that it's always going to have 2 components when you're spelling out the words. You can use the Morse code alphabet. You can use the standard military hand signals. Come on, speed it up, get down, take cover. So all those can be used that you need to set up ahead of time with your people. Then he gets into my love, and that is radio communications, and that's kind of where we are as far as this chapter. But I want to share a whole bunch of communications things with you that I want you to take into consideration. The first thing I want to do is I want to give you another website that you can go to. And this one is fantastic. Let me see if I can find it. Is this it? Nope, that's not it. Yeah, there it is, right there. Okay, so this is the American Readout Radio Operators Network, and it's based off of a book by, let me get my book out, the Patriots Survive Patriots. I've got a big tub over here with all my encipherment and encryption stuff in it, and so I've got to find the book. Oh, here it is. So this is John Jacob Schmidt, and he wrote this book, The Partisan Operators Journals. And so then he founded Amron. Amron is part of what we call the Channel 3 project. And the Channel 3 project says that we understand that powering up your radio consumes power, and we want to save the power as much as possible in an emergency situation. So the Channel 3 project says we're going to every 3 hours, starting at midnight. So midnight, 3, 6, 9, noon, 3, 6, 9, again, midnight. So there are 9 times during the day that we want you to go to channel 3 of your radio, whether that's a CB, FRS, or GMRS. And then there's also a list of HF frequencies, if you're into that, and which I am. And so you're going to listen for 3 minutes. So 3 minutes on channel 3 every 3 hours. That way, you're not wasting a lot of radio power. Now, if you're just listening, oops, I just knocked over half of my radios, golly. If you're just listening, I have this one. I have the Voyager multi-band, and it's got shortwave all the way up to FM. It's got several modes operations. I can operate it on a battery. I can hook it up to an AC converter. It's got a solar panel. Solar panel is not the best in the world, let me tell you. I have charged this for like 6 hours, and if you don't have batteries in there to charge the batteries, it's not going to work. But anyhow, but you can get just something where you're going to listen only, okay? Now, when we talk about the Channel 3 project, you might want to start off local communications. This is 2 things. It's the only amplitude modulated system that we have, and it's also the only HF handheld system that we have. This operates in the 29 megahertz arena, and it's a citizens band radio, okay? So with the citizens, this one takes like 9 batteries, which is why I don't have it. I plug it in over here in my Radio Shack. But anyhow, I can't show you. But channel 19 is a very common channel. The truckers channel is what they call it. But having a CB, Citizens Band Radio, this is amplitude modulated, and it is in the 29 megahertz range, which is at the very, very top end of HF. At 30 megahertz, you start getting into the very high frequency range, which is FM, frequency modulated. The next one up is going to be the family radio service. Now for CB and for FRS, there's no license required, okay? So the FRS is very simple. It's got programmed channels in it, so you can use channel 3. When I operate GMRS most of the time, which is channel 19, but I do want to show you something. There are channels that are consistent between FRS and GMRS. So I'm going to go here. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so what we have here is, this is a channel, or this is a description showing all the overlap between FRS and GMRS. So if you have an FRS family radio service, there are some of, about a third of all the channels that are available for GMRS are available on FRS, so you can have communications. The difference is that the FRS radio only has a portion of the output power that a GMRS radio has, okay? So you can have the same frequencies as far as channel sets, but it is going to be a little bit lower power output. The next one up from that, let me see if I can find it here. Here it is GMRS, okay? Now GMRS, you do need a license for GMRS. I'll get this one set to channel 19 for GMRS. And it says I need to charge it. Okay. And I've got it set up. I want to turn it off because it's running low on power. But it's also set up for repeater number 8 because GMRS can have repeaters. Okay. Now, GMRS does need a license, and that's what this blue call sign is here. My license for GMRS, I am Whiskey Sierra Echo Delta 742. So remember, these two can communicate with each other. FRS, no license. GMRS, more power, additional frequencies. You can use it on a repeater, and it does require a license. Now, here's the advantage of these 3 radios, okay? CB, FRS, GMRS, all use preset frequencies. So all you have to do is turn the radio on, and once you turn the radio on, turn it to the channel you want, and you're good to go, okay? Now we're going to go up the spectrum a little bit. This is my Baofeng. Yeah, this is the Baofeng. This is my handheld, both VHF and UHF handy talkie. These are frequency modulated. You have to program them. They don't come with factory settings. This is set up to go to a repeater, so it's going to have an offset. So that means that it's a duplex. All these others are simplex. They operate on one frequency. They transmit and receive on the same frequency. With the Baofeng or the TID radio, which is my primary, or the Yaesu YA6, which is in my bug out bag, you have to program these. You have to put in what is the channel that you're going to be operating on and what is the offset or the receiving frequency. So you're going to be transmitting on one and receiving on a different one.
Welcome. And it was quite a big to-do. And I know that Wayne is very familiar with CB radio.
Now, this one, it just so happens that our radio club has their newbie training, radio training, at the same time that we do this. So I knew that there was going to be somebody active on our 0.64 repeater the minute I turned it on. So that's set up for that. This one's set up to the same repeater. This is my Baofeng.
Channel mode.
Now it says channel mode because there are 999 channels you can program into it, okay? So just remember, either one. If you want to go inexpensive, the Baofeng UV5R. There is another one that I've got in the show notes, the UV82. It's actually a stronger, more power upgrade to the UV5R. Okay. Then we go up to another level, and congratulations to Sumi. She just purchased one. She's getting it all set up. But I use an ICOM IC7300. And I just ordered a Yaesu FT590 today. So that's going to operate in several bands, starting down around 1.8 megahertz. So we're talking about low frequency, high frequency, medium frequency. So these are the short wave things that we talk about. And then that can go, and then there's also a band at 50 megahertz that it can operate on. But that's going to be frequency modulated. Now down below 30 megahertz, it's either going to be single sideband, which is voice, or it's going to be continuous wave, which is Morse. You know, da da da. So alpha da, bravo da it, Charlie it, and going on and on. Okay. So learn Morse code, and that's a great one. You can use that because so few people know it nowadays that if you know it, that's a great way for two people to communicate with each other. Joe Primo, good evening. Welcome. Good to see you. So that's kind of on the communications portion. I'm going to go a little bit into encipherment and some things that you might want to consider getting or doing. But in the meantime, let me show you my book. This is I've got my ham radio operator's license here. I've got both of them. I've got my technician class underneath my general class. And then this is my ham radio notebook. So I've got my tests that I passed, my communications log, who I've talked to. I've got my own card that I made up. We'll talk about this later. This is my own encipherment card. I've got my net control station log, my monitoring log as far as checking in case of an emergency. Have people checked in with me on time? Is there somebody missing? What's going on? Traffic log. I have my communications intercept worksheet. And then I've got Williamson County. I've got all these different things. So, and I've got Amron, all the Amron stuff in here as well. So, this is just really neat stuff that you want to put together in a binder and keep all your communication stuff together. Okay. Now, let me check on the people who have all been here. Make sure I've got their shenanigans. Welcome. Good evening. Good to see you. And maybe we'll get some chat going here as well. So I see friends. Oh, friends. Okay, I got it. You got me. Doesn't take a code breaker long to get that. Prepper for the Ages. Welcome. Good evening. Good to see you. Welcome. We really appreciate having you. Let me see. Anybody else? Leslie G. Good evening. Welcome. Good to see you as well. And Butch, I think we got you already. Teresa Buchanan, good evening. Good to see you. How many do we have here right now? Can anybody? I see 20. 20 people in the chat. That's fantastic. Shenanigans, good evening. And I think I said hi to Joe Primo. And okay, Johnny Walker. That's another new name. Congratulations. Welcome. I'm glad you found us. Okay, so what I want to do now is get into a little bit about encipherment and encryption and encoding. And so when we talk about encipherment, so encipherment is always a 1-for-1, 2-for-2. It's a constant substitution system. So this is the book that I bought when I was in school in 1971, learning to be a code breaker. I do have this link down in the job description or in the show notes. So if you want to start where I started, of course, I can't give you the books I had at NSA, but this is the book I could buy on the open market that I bought. So if you want to start, this is a great one to start with. South Florida Douglas, good evening. Welcome. Good to see you. Then you're going to talk about generating codes. This is one that's commercially available to you. So it's got all kinds of code sheets. You just rip one out, use it. And, this is going to be your substitution guide. I'll show you how we do substitution here shortly. This is the handbook of codes, ciphers, and secret writings. The link for this one is also in the show notes. This is a military-style one-time pad. So what we're going to do is we're going to encrypt A. We'd use 0, E is 1, I is 2. So notice that these numbers never begin any of these down below. So if it starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, you know it's one of these top ones. And then if it starts with 5, 6, 7, or 8, they're digraphs. They're going to be substituted for these down below. So I showed you the one that I created that's in my notebook that I use with my group. This is the sample on just how to use it, okay? Then you can also go, this is how you use that code book that I showed you that you can buy, the one-time pad book, this one, okay? And so you can use this, which is basically one of those pages. And so what you're going to do is you're going to use a digraph. So if you use let's say J, and then C. So I'm going to use JC. So I use J going across, C coming down. That becomes an L. Okay. Okay. One of the things you got to do is memorize the numerical value of the letters that you're going to be using, which is kind of difficult. In English, we have 26 letters. In Russian, they had 32. So, you have to think in different sequences. I have two of these. This is the Civil War code wheel, one for me and one for my compadre. And so what happens here is these wheels, you can unscrew this and put the wheels in different orders. But I don't want to do that because it's kind of confusing. What you might want to do is number the wheels, okay, with a magic marker before you take them off. But each wheel is totally different. So if I wanted to send a message, and I've got one set up, I thought for an example. No, I don't. Okay, so if I wanted to say meet, I would start with the first one, M, and then I'm going to line up an E here. Then I'm going to line up another T or another E. There we go. And then I'm going to line up a T. Okay, so now I have the word meet, okay, right here. I can use any of these other combinations to transmit that. And so when they get that transmission and it says LTZY and they line that up, okay, the LTZY, see it right here? When they line that up, they just rotate this until they find a valid word. So they're going to rotate it around and they don't see anything. Oh, there's a valid word right there, meet. Okay. So this is a cipher system that was used by the Union Army during during the Civil War. And so if you can get that, that's available on eBay. And get a couple of those, one for you and one for each of your guys. Like I said, if you want to double secure it, you can change the order in which the wheels are on there. But these two are set up so that the wheels are exactly the same, and that's the way we want to keep it. You have the secret decoder. This was used by the Romans. And so what it does is you can set up a substitution system simply by saying this message is going to be 3. So you take the inner wheel, turn it to the position 3, and then you're going to use the inner wheel is your code, your cipher text. The outer wheel is your plain text. So now you can take a letter, let's say here, P will be transmitted as a U because that's set up for that according to this number. Okay. Now another one. This is my fancy cipher stick. So this is just a cipher substitution, but it's going to be a constant substitution. Okay. So we're going to say here that we're going to set it up so that the cipher text string for today is I. So we've got this arrow, we set it for I, and the top line becomes your plain text. Right here, this is your plain text. Now that plain text gets read up into your cipher text up here. Now, to avoid any problems, your plain text here appears twice. So if you notice, it goes all the way to Z, and then it starts over and does it all again. So that way you've got the entire alphabet above, okay? So those are simple substitution systems that are fantastic that you can use. There is another system, and I'll kind of walk you through examples of both of these here in just a minute. Let me put this down. So simple substitution. One of the things you can also do is you can say, for example, eat at Freddy's. So, and you're going to put a simple cipher system above that you have generated. So the first letter, let's say, is going to be T. So we're going to take, well, let's use M. M is number 13 in the library. E is 5, so 13 plus 5 is 18. So MNOPQR. So your plain text is E, your cipher text, I'm sorry, your code text is M, and your cipher text now is, I forget what it was. But you get the idea. That's called an additive pad system. Now, anytime the number exceeds the 20 or 26 or anything like that, you're going to cycle back around, okay? So if you had, let's say, Z plus Y, so you got 25 plus 26, that's 51. So that's going to end up being an A, okay? Now, you can also do a subtractive system where you're doing the exact same thing. Instead of adding it, you're going to subtract it, okay? So those are all cipher systems. So in a cipher system, remember that the location of the letter in the message stays the same. However, the identity of the letter changes. So we just did the E for in the beginning for eat, and it became a T, okay? So it's still going to be in the same logical order. It's just the identity of the letters themselves are going to change. A very easy way for you to get into that is to do a frequency letter count. So just remember, count up how many times letters appear, and you can use this for the cryptogram in the newspaper as well. The most commonly used letters in the English language are Etnorias L, and that's Etnoriasl. And then you also have the least occurring letters in the English language, JK, VWXYZ. Okay, so the last five. J and K, VWXYZ, and then PQ are also very low occurrence letters. So if you have a P and it's appearing more frequently than anything else in that message, chances are that P is representing an E. Okay, so that P has been substituted for an E. So you can do that with just a frequency letter count, just count how many times each letter appears. Then whatever is the most commonly occurring letter is probably going to be an E. Okay, now that was the identity changes, location remains the same. There's also something called a transposition system. And in a, gosh, I should have had a piece of paper here. Let me see what I can get. Let me see what I've got. Okay, so a transposition system, the identity remains the same, the location changes. So we're going to take a 5 by 5 matrix, which means 25 letters. And I'm going to say, meet me at the library at noon. Okay, now I'm going to put an X to show the end of the message. So see here, I've got in this diagram, I've got going across, meet me, meet M, I can't see what I'm doing here, meet M-E at the library at noon, X. So now, that's how I've written it. How I'm going to transmit it is going down each column. So I'm going to start here, and my message would be M-E-E-A-N for the first group. The next group would be E-A-L-R-O. The next group would be E-T-I-Y-O. The next group would be T-T-B-A-N. And the final group would be M-H-R-T-X. So what we've done now is when you read it across, it makes no sense at all, right? So we would have to copy it going down and then read it going across when we receive it. But that's something you would work out with the people who are on the same net that you are working together. So that is a transposition system where identity has remained the same, but location has changed, okay? All right, so what are some of the other books that I would strongly recommend? I really like this one. the Prepper's Communication Handbook. It has a lot of good information on different radios, how to use them. One of the most important things when you get into radio, and I had a very strong disagreement with a lady. She wanted me to teach radio to the group, but she didn't. But she wanted me to teach what she wanted me to teach instead of what needed to be taught. If you have $100 to spend on radio equipment, spend 40 on the radio and 60 on the antenna. Notice that with this UV5, this is not the standard antenna that comes with the UV5, okay? The standard antenna for a UV5 is probably about the size of what comes on this one for the GMRS, okay? So this antenna is going to give me a lot better range and reception because it's a larger antenna. Now, let me give you one other thing. You're going to see things at the bottoms of the boxes, and it's going to say long-range radio. With VHF radio, and that's any kind of push-to-talk radio, you cannot transmit further than the Earth's horizon. Now, at 6 feet, if you're a 6 foot tall person and you're holding the radio at your ear, okay, at your ear and mouth, that means the radio is approximately 6 feet above the ground. In flat, open terrain or on the ocean, you're probably going to get around 6 miles of range, okay? If you want to increase your range, then you're going to have to increase the height of either your antenna or the receiver's antenna. So that's why with the ham radios, we can transmit so far. It's not because of power. It's not because of frequency. It's not because of anything other than the fact that I'm communicating with a repeater. And one of the repeaters is on the 5th floor of the hospital. And so that can see pretty much a lot of the county. And so that's the strength, is how big is your antenna and where is it? I saw a question. Shenanigans says that my Baofeng antenna is huge, that he has a stubby. Yeah, so take a look at it. Prepper Communication Handbook. Yes, that's going to be in the show notes, Pete. Need to find a longer antenna for my GMRS radio. Absolutely. No, Pete, there's no dumb questions. But do lightning storms mess up radio comms? I honestly don't. Yes, they do. So lightning can definitely mess up amplitude modulated signals, okay? Which is going to be like my ICOM, my high frequency radio. It's going to have, now it's going to affect all the radios, but it's going to have a greater effect at 30 megahertz and below amplitude modulated radios. CB is very susceptible to lightning, as is a ham radio operating anywhere from 1.8 up to 30 megahertz. You will be affected if you are using VHF, UHF, FM. It can have an effect, but not as great an effect as it will with the HF radios, the CB radio and the HF radio. Okay. Hey, Homestead, good evening. Welcome. Kaylin, welcome. Good evening. So that's kind of where we are. I do want to say, if you're going to have radios, if you're going to depend upon radios for communication, please don't forget. And I wanted to bring my smallest one, but it's out in my pickup. It's in my get home bag. I have a charger, a solar charger, that is just a little bit larger than my cell phone. Okay, great charger. It's made by Goal Zero, and I keep it on my backpack. This is another Goal Zero charger. What I like about this one is the fact that I can put this on my backpack. And so it's got 2 panels. Those 2 panels go on my backpack. It can keep my radio charged while I'm walking. Or I can just lay it out in the yard, and it's going to take care of charging my radio or producing a charge. Make sure you get some good extra battery storage systems as well. It's going to be, as usual, a booger to get back into the box. The other one, let's see if I have the strength to show it to you. Now, we do have whole house power, battery backup as well. Oh, gosh. And then you can get one of these, okay? So I have a Jackery. Oh, don't know. So, and I got 2 panels to put that in the backyard, and that will charge up my radios in case of an emergency. Whoa, I did that successfully. I can't believe that. Yahoo! I don't have to go to exercise tomorrow. I got it today. But anyhow, so that's, make sure you have some way to keep your radios charged. I strongly recommend solar. You can use, and on field day, one of our guys used a 5 kW gas operated generator to power his radio system while we were out in the field. And it worked good. We had a little bit of static because of the frequency that the generator was running on, as far as we got a little bit of feedback on the RF cable into the system, but in an emergency, you can live with that. Here's the secret. I'm going to tell you a secret that nobody takes into consideration about radios. Almost all radios operate between 12 and 18 volts, okay? So if you got one that plugs into the wall, you've got some sort of a device that's attached to it that is going to reduce the voltage from your 110, 120 wall outlet down to 12 to 18 volts, because that's what most radios operate on. That's why this one takes as many AA batteries as it does. These lithium ion batteries, they're all at 12 volts. So almost all of your radios are going to be 12 volt radios. Even if you have the HF ICOM 7300 like I have, then I have to have a power supply. And so what happens is I plug that power supply into my 110 outlet. It lowers it down to 12 to 18 volts. It's in that range. I plug my radio into it, and then the radio and the power supply sync with each other so that the power supply knows exactly what the radio needs. The radio is telling that to the power supply, and you have good radio communications. But that's the secret. All radios operate between 12 and 18 volts. Okay, let me see. Kaylin, oh, sorry. Jimmy Walker, think of lightning as concentrated in one spot. EMP close quarters will have the same effect. Yes. I forget his name. He's called the EMP doctor. He wrote several post-apocalyptic books, but he is the EMP guy for NASA. And he does not think that an EMP is going to be as devastating to our country as everybody's making it out to be. He thinks there are a lot of things. I'm going to look up here. I'm trying to remember his name, so I'm looking to see if I can remember any of his books. And I'm not. Oh well. But anyhow, he does a great job of explaining technically how an EMP will work, and so he thinks that it can be whether it's perpendicular to the strike or parallel to the strike, a lot of different things. Whether it's going to be a long wire or a short wire, proximity to the actual burst. There's a lot of things that he says we have to take into consideration, that it may not have the total effect that a lot of people think it will. I saw rapid radios that are supposed to be able to have nationwide range with no monthly fees. I think they're glorified cell phones and need internet to work. Little Lone Prepper, you are exactly right. They are internet-based cell phones. Let me see. So Little Lone Prepper says, I have a BioLite stove that has a USB charger. Absolutely. Great way to go. Yes, they are fantastic. And that produces 12 volts, so that is going to be perfect for your radio. I've seen those, Little Lone Prepper. I was wondering if the claim was true. I have not used one, Shenanigans. Everything I have heard from people who have them is that they do it. Arthur Bradley, thank you. Leslie G. Yes, Arthur Bradley. Thank you. That's the EMP doctor from NASA who has written. He's also got a couple nonfiction books on survivalism. So, and really well put together. Just, I'm not a fan. I've read all of his series of survivalist fiction books. I'm just not a fan of morphed human beings or anything like that. There are a lot of good lessons in there. Don't get me wrong, that you probably can read and get some good survival training out of. But I'm just more of a quasi-realistic type of a guy. So Jimmy Walker says he knows a guy called EMP Doctor. That's probably Arthur T. Bradley. Look him up. Oh, thank you, Scott. Scott Hummer found his website and has that up for you. Go ahead and click on that. It will open in a different tab. Research that as we finish this evening. I think that you will be amazed with what he has there. Let me see, Shenanigans. You can get my email from my channel, and then I can send you a link for a better antenna and maybe how to fix that lockout situation. Okay, so pretty much where we are. Do me a favor, a couple favors. Remember that James Jones, let me find his book. I got all this stuff over here. There we go. James Jones, the author of the book that we're talking about, as well as the author of 4 other books, is going to be with us as soon as he said, tell me when, and I'll be happy to be there. And he is also willing that evening, just as we did with, Franklin Horton. We had a drawing for Franklin Horton's book, Locker 9, autographed, and he gave that away when we did the Locker 9 series, book 1 and book 2. We gave away an autographed book. So Mr. Jones is going to give away an autographed copy of Surviving the Coming War when we have him on the channel. What I'm thinking is probably 2 weeks from tonight, invite him onto the channel, have him here, and because we should be almost done with this book. We can decide on which of his other books we want to do for our nonfiction book for the next book that we're going to be reading. We can have him on. I will allow you to ask questions. Do me a favor. If you have some questions that you want to ask him, let me give those to him ahead of time, if possible. And you can send those questions to Cold War Prepper, ColdWarPrepper, @outlook.com. That's Charlie Oscar Lima Delta, Whiskey Alpha Romeo, Papa Romeo Echo, Papa Echo Romeo.com. I mean, at outlook.com. There we go. Now, let me see. Can I do it in Cyrillic? We'd have to do something different for the K sound in cold. So we'd have to do Konstantin, K, Olga, Leonid, Dmitry, Vasily, Anna, what's R? Roman, Pavel, Roman, Yelena, Pavel, Yelena, Roman. There we go. We can do it in Russian still. Okay. But that's this one up here. Cold War Prepper @outlook.com. Send me your questions. I'll send those to him. And if you want to just do, live questions, that's fine too. We'll try to get them 2 weeks from tonight and see what we can do. I'm going to try to get the owner of a water purification company, and they sell UV water purifiers. And I'm going to see if I can't get her on the channel when we talk about water purification next week and get some of her concepts and thoughts and everything else. Maybe we can talk her into a discount code for some of her products while she's on here next week. Her name is Yana. And So let me see if I can't talk to her. No promises at all. I'm going to ask her and see if we can get that done. And then I'll show you all of my water purification things, and you'll find out some of my things that I really, really like and some of the things I really, really don't like. So let me see. Where are we? Okay, looks like we got everything taken care of. Any questions about encipherment, encryption? Remember, code is not a constant value for constant value. So like 111 could be attack, 222 could be defend, ATTACK, DEFEND. Oh, that's a bad example because both of those are same substitutions. Okay, so 333 is I'm out of ammo. That's a totally longer thing. So now we've got three numbers representing any value, any length of a value. That's a code system. And good examples. E in Morse code is dot. T is dash. But dot dash is A, alpha. So, and da-da-da-da is Victor. And the opposite of that, da-da-da-dit, is Bravo, B. So you see how there's not a constant one-for-one exchange, right? Now, with the Cipher system, it's a constant value for constant value exchange. It could be 2 for 2, it could be 1 for 1, it could be 3 for 3, but it's always going to be the same exchange. That one I showed you, it's a Cipher system because I showed you it's going to be a row and a column, ends up with a single letter, it's always going to be the same. Row column equals 1. So 2 always equals 1. That's a Cipher system. So anytime you have a constant exchange for a constant exchange, that's a Cipher system. Remember that in a Cipher system, we have two different things. We can either encipher it where the meaning of the letter stays at its exact location. It never changes location. Same location, different face value, different appearance. That is a Cipher system. However, if it retains its original meaning but changes its location, that is a transposition system. So all these different types of things you can do so that other people can't read your messages. Don't forget, you can get the Civil War encryption wheel on eBay. You can also get the Roman encryption wheel on eBay. And I think my NSA additive pad slide, you might check and see if it's available on eBay. Chances are it is. So let me check one more time for questions. And yes, Arthur Bradley did the Survivalist series, Paxos. That is correct. And then there is another Survivalist series. You're absolutely right, Scott Hummer, called by A American, we have interviewed him, and he's been on the channel. That was one of the very first interviews I did as far as authors of books. But we did the entire Survivalist, the A American Survivalist series. We did that first. That was the very first set of fiction books we did maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But we've done all of his books. So you can go back in the show notes to Fiction Book Club. And, I think there's 17 his books in that series. So yeah, we've done all of his, and we've interviewed him. Great guy. Gosh, let me tell you. He is really in with Special Forces. Every year, they have Robin Sage, which is the graduation exercise for Special Forces. So they have to go in. Remember, Special Forces kind of sets up as an A-team. They go in and they develop indigenous forces to fight against the bad guys, okay? So, they have a wide variety of specialists inside their A-team. And so A American, Chris Weatherman is his real name, is one of those guys that volunteers to be the bad guy. So every year when Robin Sage comes, Chris Weatherman goes out and he's a bad guy fighting against the Special Forces. He knows his poo-poo. Let me tell you, the guy is phenomenal. I strongly recommend his series of books. Strongly recommend them. If you're in Florida, it's set in Florida. Lots of great examples. He does a lot of good foraging information, A lot of good information on how to cook the different indigenous plants in Florida, how to catch and cook a lot of the fish and other wildlife, so that if you're in the Florida area, he's your guy. Franklin Horton is primarily in Virginia, the Carolinas. So if you're in that region, he is fantastic for you as far as foraging, cooking, and everything else. Stephen Smith is kind of in the Kansas, southwestern Missouri, northern Oklahoma, Arkansas area, that area. He is really good for that area. John Graham is really good as far as the Utah area. And he and his wife, Terry, have a fantastic series of videos that they're putting out. The latest has been on how to process and store meat. So they're just doing a really good job, bang up job on their channel. I know I've seen a couple of you on their channel. Thank you for going over and surviving and supporting them. I greatly appreciate it. I haven't found anybody who's doing any books here in Central Texas. So if anybody hears of anybody doing anything with, survivalism and foraging and all that kinds of stuff here in Central Texas, let me know. That's what really pertains to me. Okay, I think we've done it for the evening. Next week, we're going to do the next chapter, which is basically water purification and storage. So we're going to go to the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26, that I still don't have memorized, and I should. Where are you? Okay, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and grant you peace. And remember, please, that we're all in this together so we can come out the other side together. Continue to be kind, polite, and respectful to each other. And for those of you who are new, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something worthwhile out of it, and you'll continue to stay with us. After we get to know you for a while, I will, if you're here on a regular basis and you don't cause any problems, then we'll probably give you a wrench and you'll become a moderator, just like most of the people who have been here for quite a while. They have the authority to bump people who are not being kind, polite, and respectful. So hopefully you'll be coming back. Out of the ashes. Okay. That would be fantastic. And of course, what's his name? The daddy of all of them, the Survivor, Patriots, and he had a trilogy. He's an ex-MI military intelligence officer. I should remember his name. He has a fantastic website, Wesley Rawls. He has some central, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Utah area. He gets down into Kansas as well. So he has a lot of good foraging and stuff in his books. So Wesley Rawls, don't forget to read his books as well. Okay, take care, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye-bye. James Wesley Rawls.